Hey, friend, welcome back to Nonprofit CourageLab Season 7. Can you believe it? I don't even know how many episodes I've done. Whatever 6 times 12 is. For you math people out there, that's for you. I'm a numbers person, not a math person, and there's a difference. I am so excited because this episode is going to be the pep talk that you need to have the best end of year ever. That's what I want for you. I'm going to be doing a series this season on end of year fundraising campaigns, how to make them successful. There's going to be PDFs and a guide that's free if you are a subscriber. If you're not, subscribe. You're going to want it. You're going to want to get in on this. It's going to be good. And some done for you stuff. I just want to see you win. I want you to raise more money, unrestricted, by the way. And I want you to have fun doing it and do it in a way that's sustainable. We don't need to be doing these late nights trying to meet deadlines and working 60 hours a week. Okay, that ain't it. We're not doing that. So let's start off with what I see happening in philanthropy, what's happening in a lot of organizations, and who I think is going to continue to struggle and who's going to win. So, right now, obviously, we've got a lot of cuts. We've got a lot of government funding that's being cut. There's impact to the communities that we serve that are having any kind of aid, Medicaid's being cut, SNAP cuts. The organizations that are on the front lines with these issues, you already know. I don't need to tell you, right? We're seeing a lot of government funding being cut domestically and internationally. We're also seeing funders, and this has been the case, we've been talking about this, but funders are divesting from DEI, they're divesting from education. They think that an iPad is going to raise your child and educate your kid. I don't know. I mean, they're going to let a robot do it. I don't know. That's not even the point, but okay, I digress. Okay. I'm on the board of an education organization called the Teaching Well. They're amazing. They retain teachers and help to turn around schools to have healthier cultures. So they do leadership coaching, they do individual coaching, team coaching, and help to uplift the entire school system. It's phenomenal. So you can kind of see what I believe in and where I stand and where we should be putting more resources based on that decision alone to not only have Teaching Well as a client, now I'm on the board, I support them fully. I'm all in on that. We're seeing a lot of changes, jobs being cut. I've seen a lot of grant writing positions eliminated completely as a result of the funding landscape, completely tectonic shifts, right? That's all happening right now. We're also seeing my clients are raising larger and larger gifts more frequently. And that's because their donors, they have really strong relationships. So the organizations that have strong relationships with your top individual donors are going to do well. That's what we're seeing. I have a one-on-one client in a rural town in Ohio, and they just secured a $500,000 gift last week. It's $100K a year for 5 years, a multi-year pledge, unrestricted. And when you work with me, I give you the template for this. I give you the template for a multi-year proposal, and I give you the template for a pledge form, and you just plug and play, and I do it with you. So you're not in the dark, and bada bing, bada boom, it's done. We originally asked for 2.1 million, and they said that's too much. We're not willing to give that. So we came back with this amount, and through a discussion, through a dialogue, a back and forth, they came to 500K over 5 years. But the first year, this year, year one, they're going to give 100K and 200K in 2 installments in the next 6 months. So they're front loading it. So I guess really it's 600K. Fantastic, right? And their annual budget is $1 million. So that is really a big deal for them, right? And I'm seeing a lot more of this, of donors that they have strong relationships with, have a wealth event, they sell their business, they retire, they have more time on their hands as a retiree. They are not leaving everything to their kids. And because my client, the organization, has a strong relationship, that wealth event triggers in them, oh, I think I can help this nonprofit out that we've been giving to for years. And that's what you want. You want them, when they have a wealth event, to think of you. And that comes through strong relationships. And the people who say or claim that in order to raise a larger gift, it needs to be restricted, I used to believe that. Like, I actually completely agreed. That was my philosophy. The larger the gift, it's typically going to be restricted. I think that organizations can't afford to think like that anymore because the world is changing so fast. And it is so painful to sit across from a CEO and for them to say, Julie, I went out, I raised money for this capital campaign. I have a $1.2 million sitting in the bank that's earmarked for this beautiful building, or not even a beautiful building, a building that they're going to need to pour more capital into to make it beautiful. And now they need to raise operational support to pay to complete payroll. They've gone out and now they have all this money they can't touch. Ooh, ooh, ooh. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way. It's too late, right? You can't turn back time. Yes, I just sang to you. I don't know. I did that. Yeah, I did that. Who doesn't love Cher? You can't turn back time. So even when I've been on capital campaign projects, I have always said, okay, we need to tell people we're raising money for this capital campaign. And we need to add in an addendum of some kind to let them know if for some reason we are not going to move forward in the purchase of this building, or construction gets stalled, or there is an outbreak of an unprecedented disease that puts everyone and everything in our homes, and there's no need for a building, just something hypothetical like that, that you reserve the right to use it as you see fit. So although the proposed initiative is a building, this is still considered general operating support, and you as the executive team will determine where it is used best to fulfill your mission. And that is expressly stated. Why? Because again, it's super painful to have all this money restricted that you cannot use. And you need operation support. You need flexible funding because your mission may not change, but how you do it will. That is not an if, it's a when. And it's a mistake to raise so much restricted funding. I understand why. It's easier. General operating support takes guts, and it takes more trust To raise restricted funding, you don't need as much trust. To raise unrestricted funding, you need more trust. You might think you need to raise restricted funding because you don't have enough trust. What you need is more trust, not more restricted programs, not more naming opportunities. You need more trust. And that is a harder thing to do than to slap somebody's name on something and call it a scholarship fund or name a building after them. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, the organizations that are community based, that are doing work, that you're effective at what you do, but you have ambitious growth goals, you need unrestricted funding. And so that's going to be what I see as organizations who win. And I still sometimes have to talk my clients out of this. They're like, oh, well, our largest donor called me up and said, hey, I just sold my business and I have a lot of money to give. What do you need? And then the client comes to me and is like, hey, well, if they have a 7-figure gift they want to give us, I want to buy a building. And I'm like, please, dear God, don't do that. Tell them that you might buy a building, but ask for general operating support. And if you do more research and you realize that buying a building is not a good idea, now the funding isn't at risk. You don't need to give it back. You can just say, this is what we think we're going to do with it. And we'll let you know. We will report back to you what we decide to do and when. You'll be the first to know. Otherwise, like, what are we doing here? Like, why try to tie your hands behind your back? You need to ask for what you need. You need to be clear. This is called leadership. It's not being rude. It's not being presumptuous. It's being a good leader. It's being a clear and direct communicator. This is what we need. We don't need that. We need this. Period. Right? Those are the organizations that are going to win. That's what I want for you. So you need to stop underestimating your donors. You need to stop underestimating yourself. That's where it starts, actually. Your relationship with yourself. You're not getting the meetings that you want because you are apologetic about asking for them. If you believe that you're intruding, then you probably are. Actually, I take that back. You're probably not. You're probably wrong. You're probably wrong. You're not intruding. It's amazing to me how people can give a lot of money, say really complimentary things, talk about how amazing they think your nonprofit is, and you still somehow feel like you're intruding by asking for a meeting or asking for more money. What are we doing here? It comes across so insecure. If I was the donor, I would think, maybe there is something that they're doing that is wrong. Maybe they are actually trying to pull one over on me. Like, why are they so apologetic? And why are they so like what is happening? Do they have something to hide? Do they have something to be like insecure about? Do they have something that actually is a wolf in sheep's clothing? Like, stop it. You're undermining yourself. So I made a little list for you. I made a list of things that you need to do to have your best end of year. And the first one is stop underestimating yourself. You need to see meeting with you, your donors and your board members, meeting with you is a value add in their life. You need to believe that about you. And then you need to stop underestimating your donors. Stop believing that they don't care. Stop thinking that they're selfish or that they're greedy or that they're lying just to be nice, just to be polite. Frankly, when you think that about a donor, it's probably because you lie. You say things just to be polite. You say things just to be nice, but you don't mean it. And so you project what you do onto other people. But I can tell you that if you're speaking with successful business owners and people who have income to give, wealth to donate, largely they do not do things out of obligation. They do not say things they do not mean. They do not offer help if they do not plan on giving it. So although you might say things that are just to be nice because you're a nice person, that's not what's happening with your donors. So stop underestimating them. When they offer help, take them up on it. Period. Are you writing this down? You need to do this. And actually, if you're listening to this right now, I have a free PDF for you. It's called the Opportunity Brainstorm Doc, and it's typically the first thing that I give to all of new clients when they start onboarding. I'm going to give this to you for free, but what you have to do, this is what you have to do. Okay, there's a code word. You need to DM me the word opportunity. That's lame. Actually, DM me on LinkedIn breakfast burrito. I love breakfast burritos. DM me breakfast burrito. If you do that, I will send you the link so that you will get the PDF for the Opportunity Brainstorm. You need to write down what it's going to do is help you to see all of the people you might be overlooking who have offered you help, opportunities where people could step up that you might not be thinking about. This will jog your memory. This will help you to see that there are resources you're surrounded by. There are people who are ready to step up and give and donate, and you might be overlooking them. You might not even realize. People always ask, like, oh, how do I get more donors, right? How do I get new donors? This document will help you to see there are people all around that you're not noticing. It may not be obvious, but you'll walk away with a list of at least 10 potential people who could donate right now. So that's the Opportunity Brainstorm Doc. DM me on LinkedIn, breakfast burrito. Breakfast burrito is the code word if you want the PDF. If you don't want it, then that's fine. You don't have to take it, but totally free. Stop underestimating yourself and stop underestimating your donors. This is what that sounds like oftentimes. I don't have strong enough relationships yet to ask for more. Well, if you're new to the organization and the donor isn't, then they have a relationship with the organization and it's not new. It's new to you, but not to the organization. So although you're still getting to know them, it's not a new relationship. If you don't know the donor and you haven't done a good job, it's time to acknowledge that. Hey, we've dropped the ball. Here's what we're going to do moving forward and fix it. Make a promise that you can deliver on and then deliver on it. Building trust. That's what you need. You need to build trust. People think, oh, my board's too busy and I can't bug them. They have full lives. They have all this stuff that they're going on. I don't want to burden them. They can't do more. They're doing already what they can do. Stop tolerating your inactive board. Some of you think that you can continue to put off developing your board and having difficult conversations, and you absolutely cannot. Your board leadership affects the culture of your organization and your ability to fundraise without burnout, so much so that it is unbelievable the change that my clients have seen as a result of activating their board. I had a client, they're based in Florida. They're a national mental health organization, and they joined CourageLab 2.0, my program. They fired 3 of their board members. They said, hey, it's time to go. And then the board members who were active, there were a couple of them, came to my board fundraising boot camp, which is a 2-day boot camp training for board members specifically. And the staff gets to come too, so they can kind of see how I talk to them, how I teach, how I train, how I manage them. And it sort of gives them permission to be that direct as well, to address a lot of these things that have been pain points. Because if you don't have board members who are personally donating, and if you don't have board members who are opening doors for you, making introductions, making referrals, it's a problem. It is one of the biggest reasons your organization is not raising more money, the money that your mission needs, the money that your mission deserves. Your board is either helping you or they're holding you back, and you know it and I know it. So this nonprofit fired 3 board members. There was just time for them to go. And then they brought on 3 new ones who were all clear from the start that the expectation was to be involved in fundraising. And they came to the board training, right? The board chair came to the boot camp that I taught. And now all of them are donating and they're hosting dinners. One board member hosted a dinner and it raised $30,000 that night. And they used my strategy, events that don't suck. If you've been around here, you've heard me say that. It's called that because events suck, usually. They suck the energy and the life out of you and me, the staff. That's why I called it events that don't suck, because this doesn't suck the energy out of you. This is not about exhausting you by doing a time-consuming gala. This is a zero cost strategy that is donor hosted and donor sponsored from start to finish and donor executed. And you just show up and make it rain, basically. And anyway, they follow that strategy, 30K, which was donor hosted, which means it's 100% profitable. Your events, I guarantee they are not 100% profitable. We're talking maybe 12 hours of staff time put towards putting this event on. But everything else, there are no hard costs, meaning the nonprofit is not paying for the food. They are not paying for the tablecloths. They're not paying for the venue. They're not organizing any of it. The donor and the board is. And this is what I teach, and this is what I train your board to do. So they came to that board training, and now their board is active. The executive director feels supported. Now they feel like, oh my gosh, I have people I can call, and they're going to have my back. They're making introductions. They brought in new donors. I mean, 30K in one night is awesome. Hello, right? It's like, stop tolerating inactive board members. Stop thinking that you can't get active people who are enthusiastic, who can give and will give, and who can make introductions for you and help to bring in a new donor pipeline without you having to hire somebody, without you having to go and train them. I'll train them. It's such a no-brainer. I can't even tell you. So I've seen this over and over again. I've seen this with multiple clients where they basically, release the people on the board. They know it's past time for them to go. And then there's really clear expectations, clear qualifications for new board members. And I have a done for you template and a done for you toolkit that you can use of individualized board plans and, board job description and all of these things that you can make your own. And I can help you to make it your own, that make your life so much easier and sets your board up for success. And now you're attracting people who actually want to help you and they're excited to do it. What a dream. I've seen this in so many different organizations, big and small. It's totally possible for you. So stop tolerating an inactive board and start leading them. Start having real direct conversations with what you actually need to fulfill your mission. And it's not people who just show up to meetings and say, okay, sounds good, ask no questions, and you don't hear from them until the next meeting. Yuck. I want you to start advocating for yourself. This is a big one. I did a post on how a big red flag that I see in hiring development directors is that they don't negotiate their compensation package. And that tells me pretty much everything I need to know about the kind of fundraiser they're going to be, particularly when it comes to major gifts. And of course, it's rare. That's why I'm preaching about it, because most people don't do it. How can you expect someone to raise hella big gifts and they don't even negotiate their own salary? I am always going to advocate, first of all, for fundraisers to get paid more money. Every time. And there's nothing you can convince me. There's no economy. There's no war. There's no conflict. There is no situation in which I think fundraisers should get paid less, especially the effective ones. You're never going to hear me preach that. If you're looking for that message, please go somewhere else. I believe so much in our profession and in what we do that I will always advocate for really high pay, actually. It might make you uncomfortable how much I think fundraisers should get paid, especially the ones who are major gifts badasses. And I will never apologize for that. These people are raising millions of dollars. If they went to the corporate world, which thank God they aren't, and they're actually raising money for these really massive, important societal issues that we have. Are you kidding me? And we think they should be accepting crumbs? It makes me mad. So yeah, you should get paid really well to do this work. You should. And you should start advocating for yourself. It doesn't happen because someone does it for you. You have to advocate for what you need and want. It's the same thing in fundraising. You have to go to your donors and you need to tell them what you actually need, not what you think they'll say yes to. And it's the same thing with yourself. If you need professional development, if you need training, you need to speak up. If you need to get paid more, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to stop tolerating and accepting the crumbs. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people accepting whatever they think they can get because times are tough, because the economy sucks, because the job market is rough. It's bullshit, and something's got to give. There are never perfect conditions. And the top talent, they deserve to get paid really well. Competitively, you bet. Because they bring in 10 times their salary, at least. I mean, I don't understand what is so controversial about that. And if you keep accepting the crumbs, then you show people that you are fine with that. And you perpetuate the status quo that you complain and bitch and moan about, that fundraisers don't get paid enough. And if you're a hiring manager, if you're a CEO, if you're a VP, if you're a director of development, and you expect people to bring in really great results, then you better expect to pay them really well. You don't get really amazing fundraisers cheap. It's why none of my programs are cheap. Because I'm actually helping people raise 6 figures in 6 months. That actually happens. Talk to them. And why on earth would that be cheap? There are certainly training programs that are a tenth of the price of my program, but I don't see the results and the screenshots and the multi-year six-figure gifts. And I'm just telling it to you like it is. This isn't bragging, this is reality. And this can be possible for you. These people are not all in New York or LA. And I've said it multiple times. You can be in a small market. There are people who are extremely wealthy and they are not flashy, and you are overlooking them. And I don't do that. So when you work with me, you begin to see opportunities where you didn't before. You begin to focus and advocate for yourself, like my client did. Director of Development raised $200,000 in CourageLab 2.0 in 6 months. And their revenue, I think they raised previously $635,000 from individuals. So 200K new revenue in 6 months. The first 6 months of the year, by the way, this isn't even Q4. And before CourageLab, she was doing everything. She was doing events, volunteer management, corporate sponsorships, major gifts, peer-to-peer campaigns, 5Ks. I mean, it was too much. She gets inside CourageLab, and in the first 30 days, we focus on your highest ROI opportunities. So you identify where in the next 90 days are your biggest gifts going to come from. And that made it very obvious for her what she needed to stop doing. So she goes to her boss and says, hey, look, I'm doing grant writing and I'm doing corporate sponsorships and I'm doing this 5K, and we need to hire contract people part-time to come and take this off my plate because I need to focus more on major gifts. That is our highest ROI for my role. Other people can do the grant writing and the grant reporting. Other people can do the corporate sponsorships. No one else on the team can do major gifts. That's me. I need to do that. I have relationships with these donors, and that's where I need to focus. So she has this direct conversation. The boss says, you're right. Okay. And she gets all of this stuff off of her plate by advocating for what she needs to be successful in her role. Then she raises $200,000 unrestricted. They regulate on their board. The board comes to the board fundraising bootcamp that I do. And now I talk to her. She is lighter and brighter and a clear communicator. She's not overwhelmed. She's not confused about what she should focus on. She's not spinning all the plates or, quote, wearing all the hats. How many more metaphors are we going to have for this dysfunction? And we tolerate it. We don't realize that we have more leverage than we think. I've been there. My very first fundraising job, I did everything. I was a one-person shop. And I was 22 years old. I didn't realize that this was not okay. It's not okay. How can you be given these massive goals and these huge expectations and you're doing 6 jobs and you have 8 or 9 revenue streams and none of them are knocking it out of the park? You got to advocate for yourself and say, hey, look, I need support. I need to focus. I need to eliminate this, this, and this out of my role. It's not in my job description. Another development director, remote team, and she's based in Arizona, advocated for herself in the same way. Hey, look, she gets into my program and she's like, oh, got it. This and this in my job can no longer do. So they took all of this operational stuff off of her plate after a really bold, clear conversation with her boss. They hired somebody, I think like maybe 10 hours a month to handle the grant reporting, took it off her plate. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen? You think maybe that you don't have the leverage, that you couldn't possibly audaciously ask for that. But if you don't, you won't be successful in your role. And whose fault is that? If you know better, you got to do better and you got to speak up. The organizations that are going to succeed are going to have a level of focus because they were able to say no to things. And if you're struggling to say no, I know you definitely hate hearing no. And if you're avoiding that in your fundraising, you might be in the wrong job. If you're afraid of hearing no, you have to get over that or you need to get a different job. And I tell you this because I love you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm willing to say what needs to be said because I actually believe in you. I don't think so low of you. I think that you're actually capable of greatness. And I'm going to hold you to that. This is not about denigrating who you are and what you're capable of. I'm not going to make excuses for you because you can raise multi-millions and you can do it without burning out. You can do it in a sustainable way. You can do it supported. You can do it with the support that you need specifically. You can do it with a fundraising coach. You can do it with a board that is going to help you and make your life easier. I can't tell you how it's like there aren't words. Before people work with me, they are so stressed and overwhelmed, and they're desperate for a new sustainable way to raise money. We work together. They learn my systems. They put things in place in just 1 to 2 hours a week. And now they are a different person. They become better parents. They become better spouses. They become better partners. They fundamentally get this. They feel empowered and clear and confident. It's amazing. They see what they're made of. For me, it's like addicting. I love helping people to see what they're made of. That's one of the biggest purposes I have in life. And I want that for you too. You need to start advocating for yourself. You'll be surprised what you get when you ask for what you want, when you ask for what you need. No apology. You need to stop making excuses for your team. This is for managers. This is also for fundraisers. If you're making excuses for your board, for your donors, for your supporters, your volunteers. In particular, though, I see this happen, and it's not conscious, but it's typically, and this is gonna be a little tough to hear. Okay. This is for those of you who consider yourself to be empaths. Do you consider yourself to be an empath? Or you're an empathetic leader. You're collaborative. Here's the truth. You need to stop letting your underperforming team members lead your culture. They are running things because you allow their dysfunction, their excuses to run things. When you have a one-on-one meeting with this person, they rant, they complain, they whine, they make excuses for why they're behind on their goal, why they can't raise more money, and you need to stop enabling them. That's what you're doing. It's not empathy. It's actually people pleasing. It's actually feeling sorry for someone. And you buy into their excuses and you believe their words and you ignore their actions. There are some people who they are so helpless, they don't believe in themselves. and you feel sorry for them. And so you make excuses for how they're underperforming, and your top performers on your team don't have patience for those people because your top performers are actually going out and raising money. And eventually, someone's going to win the culture war for your organization. Eventually, the top performers are going to have had enough. And they're going to have to come and have a conversation with you and say, we need to draw a line in the sand. Either I don't belong on this team or I do. If they're willing to give you that gift of direct feedback. But the longer that you hold on to underperforming people and you don't address it, you don't lead them, it's going to tank your organization. So you either need to cut them loose. Before then, you need to have a real direct conversation. I'm going to model that for you in just a moment if you hang with me. And you need to stop giving in to their excuses. When you ignore their behavior and their choices, but you believe all of their words, you're literally naive. And it's not good. Hold people able to what they signed up for, which is to raise money, and raise the level of accountability and expectation. I was working with a team recently and meeting with one of the team members, frontline fundraiser, and the VP of development, who was my client. I was working with one-on-one, but I was working with their whole team one-on-one. And the VP and I meet with one of the frontline fundraisers. And she's a major gifts officer. And we're doing a one-on-one, her weekly one-on-one check-in that she ordinarily does with the VP. But I'm joining and I'm leading it as if I'm her manager. And I'm modeling for her manager how to better lead these check-ins because they were not going well. And this team was down $1 million towards their goal. So where they should be in the year, they should be at least $1 million ahead from where they were. They were $1 million behind. And this particular team member, this major gifts officer, was behind in her goal. And that was the story for most of the team. And the VP would just put more on her back and raise more money. And every single year, they'd get to the end of the fiscal year, and she would bring in a really big gift to make up for it, to make up for the gap. And this was burning her out. She was the top performer by a long shot. And there were way too many people on the team who were not carrying their own weight. Enter Julie. I'm meeting with this MGO. I said, hey, I'm here to help your team meet the goal. This amount of money, I think the goal was like 15 something, 15.3, I can't remember. The goal is 15.3 million this year. That's my whole agenda, is for you to be successful and to reach your goal towards the 15.3. That's why I'm here. That's my whole agenda. So I understand that you're behind in your goal. Tell me what's going on. Her response, she starts off, and I can already feel her anxiety the moment she starts talking. She's like, well, let me just tell you that I have been here for, 26 months, and this has happened, and this happened, this terrible thing happened, and I'm a really anxious person, and I struggle with anxiety, and this is not working for me, and I said, hey, I'm going to stop you right there. Take a pause. I said, hey, I can feel you're listening to you. I can feel your anxiety the moment you started talking. Take a breath. And I understand that's a challenge, and we're going to address that. And I'm going to help you if you will allow me to help you. What I need to know is, what have you been doing that you've tried and it hasn't worked to meet your goal? And what support do you need? And she breathes and she says, okay, well, I've tried this. That didn't go so well. I tried this. This is still in progress. Too early to tell. Tried this. This is something that's worked for me in the past. I'm thinking it might work. We'll see. And the support I need, she's like, I don't know. I don't know what support I need. I'm like, okay. We talk for an hour. We come up with an action plan. She has clear next steps with deadlines. Now, everyone's on the same page about what the action plan is for her. She feels supported. She could reach out to me Monday through Friday. They have like a hotline, right? And I'll answer the phone. I'll respond to the Slack message, answer the email, be there for up to the minute, on demand questions and support. And at the end of the meeting, I sit down with the VP and I ask her, okay, so in that conversation, what did you notice? And the first thing out of her mouth is, you did not let her take you for a ride. And I said, yep, because I'm the leader. And although she may come with an agenda and prepare for our one-on-one, she's not the leader. I am. And you are her leader. And she needs you to lead her because she is anxious. She's needing guidance. She needs support. And me asking her a very open-ended question of what's going on, she couldn't handle answering that question. It sent her into a spiral. So I recognized that in the moment because her anxiety was so strong, it started to get my heart racing. My stress level was elevating just listening to her. Huge problem. So I addressed that right away. Some of you need to get comfortable with interrupting the BS. It doesn't help her for me to listen to her talk about her anxiety while she's basically about to enter a panic attack. It helps her when I actually help her. Like, she wants to be successful in this role, and her talking about and focusing on all the problems and all the things that she doubts about herself and all of the stuff that isn't working is lowering her self-esteem. It's making her less effective. I need to literally interrupt the lies and tell her the truth. You are capable of more. You are not alone. You can reach out for help and you will not be looked down upon. I am here for you. We are going to focus on the solutions. You have what it takes. You need to interrupt people and stop using your empathy as a reason to enable them to stay stuck. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Is it getting through? Stop letting your underperforming people take you for a ride. You are the leader and you need to step up. If your board members have excuses as to why they can't make introductions, it's time for them to be released from the board. If you need board members to do that and they can't do it, that's okay. They're not a good fit anymore for the board. If you hired a development director and their job is to raise major gifts and they're not doing it, and they point to you and they point outside and they say, well, a storm is coming. That's why I'm behind goal. What? So you're telling me that you need perfect weather? You need ideal conditions to be successful? Then you're not right for this role. Then I made a mistake in hiring you. I just walked through 2 one-on-one clients and demoting 2 of their fundraisers on their team, 2 people who were in leadership and now are not. There is a way to do it. Stop tolerating underperforming people and believing the excuses that they give you and how they're going to turn it around and they're going to do this, this, and this. And then they literally do the opposite. Some of them may not realize they're doing that. Some of them are straight up manipulating you and they're taking you for a ride and they lack integrity. And you need to stop tolerating that. It is a toxic situation for your culture and your team. And you're losing respect and credibility putting up with this. With your own team, they see it. They see that you tolerate this. They see that you say one thing and you do another. You say you want to raise more money. You say you want to be the most effective, the best organization in your cause, in your particular niche and industry. You say that you want to have top talent, and yet you allow this shenanigans to continue. And they're not going to step up until you do. It's time to stop tolerating this mess. And it's not about being a mean girl. It's not about being a bully. It's not about being a dictator. It's about being a leader and having clear, direct conversations, articulating your expectations unapologetically. That's the kind of person people will follow. What are we doing here? What game are we playing? These people signed up for jobs. There are deliverables associated with the job. If they are not delivering, it's past time to address it. Now, if they say that they need something, they need support, they need training, they need to hire somebody part-time to take things off their plate, do it. Do it. Listen to your team. Listen to what they need. Stop expecting them to raise more and more and more, and they tell you what they need and you ignore it, and then you get frustrated that they don't hit goal. What are you doing? They literally already said what they needed. Now, if you're a fundraiser or you're not the boss and you need something, you have to communicate. You have to advocate for yourself and speak up. Nobody's a mind reader. When you're not raising the funds that you're supposed to raise and you don't speak up and say what you need, it just looks like you don't care. It just looks like you're lazy. It just looks like you're coasting. You're fine with it. You're fine with mediocrity. You're fine with being behind on goal. Why are you fine with that? And if you're not fine with that, maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum. You beat yourself up. You work really, really hard, and you're not compassionate enough with yourself. You don't give yourself enough grace. How about you start doing that? Stop thinking so low of yourself. You got to get around people who have higher self-respect. That's what I did. I'm not somebody who puts up and tolerates with a lot because I'm around people who also don't tolerate drama. Like, we address it. It doesn't mean we don't have trials and challenges. I can assure you I have my own more than my fair share. It's that we're going to do something about it and be solutions oriented. And that game doesn't happen in isolation. It doesn't happen alone. You cannot climb Mount Everest by yourself. You literally can't. Start advocating for yourself. Stop making excuses for your team. Stop letting your underperforming people run the culture. And you may not realize you're doing that, but you are. If that's you, you know it's you. Stop saying no for your donors. Stop budgeting their philanthropy for them. Stop asking for less than you actually need. Stop tolerating inactive boards. Stop it. Tell them, hey, moving forward, this is what we need. If you can't do that, it's all good, but then it's time for you to go. Stop underestimating yourself. Stop denigrating yourself that you can't do this, that you can't handle it, that you're not the leader. You're not a good point person. Wrong. when would be a good time to actually see yourself clearly? To see that you are an amazing leader, that people are blessed to know you, to meet with you, to be in relationship with you, to be led by you, to be influenced by you. You are a gift. When will you accept it? Fully, unapologetically. When you do that, you're all kinds of free. You're all kinds of unstoppable. You raise so much money because you're not beholden to what people think or proving yourself. It's not even about that. It's about serving others and seeing what you're made of. That's the game that I play. That's the game that my clients play. We make it happen. And we do it with amazing people, and we get support, and we raise unrestricted dollars in less time, in 1 to 2 hours a week. And we stop all of this shenanigans, this drama, the stuff that we tolerate that's rampant in the nonprofit sector. There's plenty of people who don't advocate for themselves. That's normal. There's plenty of people who make excuses for their board. That's normal. There's plenty of people who hire talent and they know it ain't going to work and they put up with it anyway. They accept the crumbs anyway. That's normal. I get that. I'm talking to you, the 1%, the people who don't want to put up with this any longer, who refuse to be normal. If you're a weirdo and a freak and you don't want to be normal, right? You want to raise more money and have a lasting impact, and come hell or high water, you are going to change the world. If that's you, I'm talking to you. You have what it takes. Now get out there and go get this money.